accessed an exclusive copy of the NIA charge sheets against Khalistanis operating whether within India or on foreign soil. This is of course the latest information that we're bringing to all our viewers on the broadcast. Remember, there are NIA raids that are taking place across 6 states in over 50 locations. The NIA is of course cracking down especially on Hawala funding. Viewers, you can see that document I have with me on my screens. I also have with me on the broadcast my colleague Brian, but before roping Brian in, I'd like to showcase a couple of details as to what exactly it pertains to and some of the people that are involved in this that have been named. Of course, a police station, it has been filed in New Delhi. It has been filed in August 2022, specifically 26th August 2022. And the final report and charge sheet has been dated March 2023 under sections of 120B of the Indian Penal Code as well as section 17, 18, 19 and 20 of the UAPA Act and section 25 of the Arms Act. There are certain other details that are given here, but of course Arshdeep Singh Gill or Arsh Dalla, who is a Khalistani terrorist who is in fact operating from foreign soil, from Canada very specifically, has been named. There's a photograph attached. His name has been given as well as his alias, his father's name, his age has been specified about 25 years. He's of course a designated terrorist, and his address, his ancestral address is Patimal village in Dala in Mena district in Moga in Punjab. He has of course not been arrested. He is under the NIA's scanner. Cases have been filed against him under section 120B of the IPC as well as section 17, 18 and 20 of the UAPA. He is wanted of course and he is absconding. He is of course under scanner for promoting secessionism as well as for extortion as well as targeted killings and illegal smuggling of arms. These are also charges against him. But apart from him, there are other certain people, his associates such as Amit Dagar, Gaurav Patyal, Anil Chippi, Rajkumar, Rajesh Kumar, Joginder Singh, Jasdeep Singh, Kala Jethari, who have also in fact been named. Before I get into the details, I'd like to rope in Brian, who is joining us live on the broadcast for discussion. Meanwhile, Brian, you've accessed this document. Akshat also with us. You've accessed these documents. What can you tell our viewers?
Definitely, you know, NewsX has an exclusive copy of the NIA charge sheet that was prepared in March, and the following are the details of NIA cases in which an involvement of Khalistan Tiger Froze, the KTF operative Arshdeep Singh alias Arsh Dalla, a close associate of Canada-based KTF Chief Hardeep Singh Nijjar, and his associates have been found. In March also, in the year March 2021, also on the directions of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a conspiracy to kidnap and kill Shakti Singh, follower of Dera Sacha Sodha, headed by Gurpreet Ram Rahim Singh, was also hatched with the association of gangster.
Brian, stay on with us. Stay on with us. I'll come back to you for more details. But also joining us is Mr. S.P. Ved, former DGP of JNK. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to the broadcast on NewsX. NewsX has, of course, accessed some rather explosive details. We've accessed a charge sheet against Arshdeep Singh Gill, also known as Arsh Dalla, who is a Khalistani terrorist operating from Canada. We've also, in fact, earlier accessed some details by the NIA regarding the KTF, which Dalla is, of course, affiliated with. There are a lot of pointers that NIA has put forth regarding Hawala funding, regarding targeted killings, regarding also arms smuggling, drones also which are smuggled across the border from Pakistan. So it is very clear that there is a nexus that is established between gangsters operating in India, Khalistani terrorists operating on foreign soil, and Pakistan. How do you think think on what are the next steps that India should take apart from just, in fact, seizing the properties in order to curb Hawala funding?
See, all this Operation K2, which ISI is running, it involves both the Hawala operators, including gangsters, and the Khalistani terrorists who are operating from foreign soil like Canada and other places. And for financing this, they need to operate. They are actually also dealing in a lot of drugs, because that is how the ISI finances this operation. And they get cheap drugs from Afghanistan, and they are using drones on the international border with India. How these drugs are being dropped, weapons are being dropped, and these weapons and drugs ultimately land in the hands of mafia, which is operating on this border and through Punjab and Mumbai, also trading on the international route. So this is how they are financing the Khalistani terrorists. The ISI is very, very active, and I think the next step the government of India should, after declaring him as a global terrorist, Nijjar, the government of India has suspended the OCI cards. I think it is already moving ahead with the suspension of OCI cards of all such designated terrorists who seize their properties, which they own in India, where government of India, the NIA and other agencies can seize these properties which they have acquired through proceeds of these criminal transactions. And I think also rope in CBI so that red corner notices are issued, so that they are not able to travel even from Canada to other countries. And if they travel, they are intercepted and handed over to India. So I think step by step, the government of India must go after all these rascals.
Indeed, sir. And on that note, I'd also like to take our viewers through some other details of the document before roping in Colonel J.S. Sodhi, who is also joining us on the broadcast. As I was mentioning before, Arshdeep Dalla's associates who are also affiliated with the KTF have been named in this charge sheet. There is Gaurav Pachal alias Saurav Thakur alias Lucky. He is of course about 35 years old. His permanent address has been stated. He is a resident of Khuda Lahora colony in Lahora in Chandigarh. He is of course not been arrested and is wanted and absconding. Cases have been filed against him under section 120B of the IPC as well as 17, 18, 20 of the UAPA Act. Apart from this, you also have, you can also see Sukhpreet Singh alias Buddha. He is about 36 years old. He is also one of the gangsters who is an associate of Dalla. He is, his address is Moga district in Punjab, in Kussa village particularly. He has been in fact arrested. The date of his arrest is 1st December 2022. Similar sections 120B of the IPC as well as section 17, 18 and 20 of the UAPA Act have been slapped against him. Of course, he is in judicial custody, as you all can see on your screens. Meanwhile, Colonel Sodhi with us, we've just heard former DGP of JNK, SP Wade, speak to us. He's spoken about how, you know, there is a Pakistan hand that is, you know, that is very evident at this point. We were speaking earlier also, you've spoken to NewsX earlier on the broadcast, and particularly regarding the transfer, the covert transfer of drones, the smuggling of other arms and ammunition, as well as the narco-terror nexus. But before I come to Colonel Sodhi, I also have Akshit, who has accessed this document? Akshat, over to you.
Mentioned that Nijjar, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who was killed in Canada, is a global terrorist. And if I just also tell you that while filing this charge sheet against the listed terrorists Arshdeep Dalla, Lakbir Singh Landa and Harinder Singh Rinda, the NIA has also called Hardeep Singh Nijjar as a global terrorist. And if I just may also tell you, Dalla is a fugitive who is running a terrorist gangster network from Canada, and his associate Landa also operates from there. So of course, this is a whole nexus of the Khalistani extremists, and they work in close coordination with Rinda, who is a Babbar Khalsa leader based in Pakistan, and all three of them have been declared a listed terrorist under UAPA, and earlier a reward was also announced on them for ₹10 lakh, because a red corner notice of Interpol was also issued against them, and this explosive charge sheet was filed, and this is the first time that India's premier anti-terror federal probe agency had told in no uncertain terms that Nijjar is a global terrorist. If I just may also tell you as to what the charge sheet says, then of course the global terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, Arshdeep Singh and other formed a terrorist gang and recruited Lovepreet Singh, Ram Singh, Gagandeep Singh and Kamaljeet Sharma, and they conspired to kidnap and kill the people of other faiths to create a sense of fear and dissatisfaction among different sections of society in the state of Punjab. And investigations have revealed that Hardeep Singh Nijjar and Arshdeep Singh lured the above shooters to commit terror acts in return for arranging visas, splendid jobs and handsome earnings for them in Canada. And initially they were motivated for threatening and extorting money from businessmen in Punjab, and subsequently they were radicalized and motivated for carrying out terror activities of killing persons of other faiths. Of course, in a major crackdown on these Khalistani extremists, as we saw yesterday also, they carried out raid at multiple locations, of course 53 locations in different states. So of course in a major crackdown, NIA of course is raiding also and of course confiscating also the properties of these Khalistani extremists.
Indeed, and I'd like to draw attention of my viewers towards the page that I have opened on my screen. This is page number 40 of the document. It of course talks about some of the other gang members that I have spoken about, but also particularly Arsh Dalla has been termed a designated individual terrorist who works closely with the Khalistan Tiger Force. Arsh Dalla of course works against the sovereignty as well as territorial integrity of India. It is stated very clearly over here. He has been designated an individual terrorist. Meanwhile, the NIA has mentioned Nijjar as a global terrorist too. Meanwhile, of course, these are the latest updates that we're getting as far as NIA's charge sheet is concerned. Right there, viewers, you can see on our screens. I'll zoom in a little so that it's more visible and clear. All right, we have with us Colonel J.S. Sodhi, who's been waiting rather patiently. So you've heard my colleague Akshat speak about this, and you've also heard, SP Ved, the former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir, speak about, in fact, the nexus between Pakistan, gangsters that are operating in India, as well as Khalistanis who are operating on foreign soil and who are in fact funding this movement through extortion activities that are taking place within India. I had earlier, of course, also shown an entire segment of another document that we had accessed a while back. Meanwhile, of course, sir, do you think it is time to crack down on these elements, and if so, how do we proceed from here?
News channel. Well, the action of NIA to charge these terrorists who are waging a war against India, be it on the Indian soil or be it from they operate in foreign countries, is a welcome step. Have to take strong and stern action on them if we want to avoid any major further attack on India. India is enough. We have lost enough of blood, enough of property worth crores because of these terrorists. The NIA is doing very well, and not only these deadly terrorists who are being treated, should also look to the fact that there are many underground workers, there are many workers also who are supporting them in a clandestine manner. Each person associated with this movement, whether it's overground or underground, should be charged, should be brought to book, and the court should be given a specific time in the court said that cases should be expedited so that the penalty is seen in a short time, so that direct message goes that anyone playing India will be dealt in a very harsh manner.
As you can see, I'd also like to take my viewers to some other pages of the document before I come back to you, Colonel. So it states that they have of course run extortion rackets to fund the procurement of sophisticated weapons, not only from within the country but also from across the border with the help of Khalistani associates. In return, these criminal syndicates have started carrying out targeted killings and extortions for Khalistani associates, creating a symbiotic terrorist gangster network between gangsters as well as Khalistani elements. With most of the associates of the Khalistani network either being based abroad or lodged inside jails, the requirement of the shooters to carry out targeted killings is being met by the cadres of the syndicate, who in return get sophisticated weapons from across the border with help of Khalistan associates. But also drug menace is one of the problems. They through drones, in fact, they transfer drugs from across the border from Pakistan to India. Of course, we see our border security force constantly on the alert and constantly shoot down these drones. But how important do you think is also to keep an eye out on this aspect of the Khalistani syndicate, the Khalistani network's operations, and crack down on it? Well, there seems to be a connectivity issue, but with me right now, as you can see, is that very page which I have been referring to, Arshzala, as well as his association with pro-Khalistani elements. There was a long list of names that I had read out earlier, of course, and during the course of that I have mentioned Arshzala, who was a close associate of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a Khalistani who was the head of the KTF. The KTF is of course an offshoot of the Babbar Khalsa, which carried out the Kanishka bombings back in 1985, and I'd like to take my viewers through this document page by page. While the gangsters syndicate activities of terrorizing people by way of extortion, criminal intimidation as well as killing continues, they subsequently got associated with pro-Khalistani elements as well as extremists. Now, despite being apprehended under organized crime acts like MCOCA and being sent behind bars, most of these gangsters have flourished while operating from inside these jails. A rather crucial aspect in point. While in jail, they transformed into militants and created deadly terror criminal nexus, which is not only susceptible to being exploited by external forces who are inimical to India but also dangerous to our national security. The NIA has of course listed down fourfold developments since 2020 which have been critical in the formation of this gangster terror syndicate. First, of course, right here highlighted, although retaining the form of traditional organized crime syndicates which are involved in extortion rackets, syndicate members such as Arshzala, who was initially an extortionist, got associated with Khalistani forces such as the Khalistan Tiger Force, which was headed by Nijjar earlier, which works of course against the territorial integrity of India. Dalla is declared as a designated terrorist by the government of India. This is a rather crucial point that we've been highlighting for all of you. We've of course exclusively accessed this copy. Secondly, the syndicate members in quest for expansion have looked for easy avenues for acquiring sophisticated weapons which have brought them in contact with pro-Khalistan as well as terrorist elements such as Dharmendra Gugni, who was lodged in jail. So, of course, they were looking at expanding their gangs, and to do so and acquire sophisticated weapons in order to augment their gang operations, they had been brought into contact with pro-Khalistan forces. Meanwhile, the third point is what is of importance over here. Once again, a few members, I have mentioned their names before, Gaurav Patyal, Sukhdev Singh, they had fled India, ran their syndicate from abroad, and to run their gangster syndicate they needed sophisticated weapons. Weapons are of course a need to run these syndicates, hence they got associated with terrorist entities like Arsh-Dala, who is a designated individual terrorist and works closely with Khalistan Tiger Force. So, of course, Arsh-Dala and KTF then work against the sovereignty and territorial integrity of India. And lastly, which is the fourth point, the criminal syndicates for the quest for sophisticated weapons started using the money generated through their existing extortion rackets to fund the procurement of sophisticated weapons. So, it was of course this point which is rather important. They had already existing extortion rackets. They started in fact ensuring that they got in touch with Khalistani terrorists, and they also then started procuring even more weapons. But not only from within the country but also from across the border with the help of Khalistani associates, and by border they are of course referring to Pakistan, which we highlighted in another document earlier today. In return, these criminal syndicates had started carrying to targeted killings and extortions for the Khalistani associates. This created a symbiotic terrorist gangster network between gangster and Khalistani elements, with most of these associates of the Khalistani network either being based abroad or lodged inside jails. Their requirement of the shooters to carry out targeted killings is being met by the cadres of this syndicate, who in return get sophisticated weapons from across the border with the help of Khalistani associates. So, as mentioned earlier, this is a symbiotic terror gangster network, where on one hand the gangsters get they carry out targeted killings, and in return they get sophisticated weapons. These are the crucial points over here. Meanwhile, focusing on Arshdeep Singh Gill alias Arsh-Dala, who is an individual terrorist, he has been involved in heinous crimes such as murder, extortion, targeted killings, terrorist activities. He is presently based in Canada, is associated with the KTF. He is accused in various cases registered and being investigated by the National Investigation Agency, including targeted killing, extorting money for terror, funding as well as attempt to murder, disturbing communal harmony and creating terror among the people of Punjab. It further goes on to state that he is very close to Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who is also a designated terrorist under the UAPA Act. This of course the KTF runs terror modules. He is involved in heinous crimes such as murder, extortion, targeted killings besides terror activities, and involved in terror financing, cross-border smuggling of drugs or weapons on a large scale. There are of course details of the cases which are being investigated by the NIA against Arshdeep Singh, also Arsh-Dala. 4 cases have been listed down over here, but the next segment of course deals with the previous involvements of Arsh-Dala. He is of course associated with global terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Along with him, they formed a terrorist gang, recruited Lovepreet Singh, Ram Singh, Sona, Gagandeep, Gagga and Kamaljeet Sharma and Kamal. These are, of course, his associates. Their names I have also spoken to all of you earlier itself. But of course, still with me on the broadcast is my colleague Brian. Brian, over to you. I've gone through this document that you shared with us. I've gone through it in detail for our viewers. This document talks about how there is a symbiotic relationship between the gangsters as well as the terrorists. Right here you can see, viewers, this document states that there's a symbiotic relationship. On one hand, the gangsters would carry out targeted killings and for the Khalistani terrorists, and on the other they would get sophisticated weapons. And Arshtala has been declared a designated terrorist. What can you tell our viewers about all of this?
You know, if I tell my viewers that Arshdeep Singh, Gaurav Patial and Saurabh Thakur, Sagdul Singh are key members of of this terrorist syndicate gang and have their networks in Canada, USA, Europe and Middle East, Thailand, Dubai, Philippines and etc. And it has also been revealed that during this investigation that their jail-based associates also, Bhupi Rana, Sukhbir Singh, have established their own control rooms abroad to increase their area of influence as well. An investigation by the NIA also revealed that accused person and their associates, with the help of their associates based abroad, are in contact with the associates based in Pakistan, and Pakistan also based associates of Khalistan Tiger Force, that is the KTF, are receiving financial assistance from the gang members and provide arms and ammunition to the gang members active in India. The arms and ammunition also supplied from Pakistan are being dropped at pre-decided place with the help of drone in bordering area, and also further are also same are picked by these associates of the gang as well. And the global terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, Arshdeep Singh, Arsh and other formed terrorist gang recruited Lovepreet Singh, Ram Singh, Gagandeep Singh, Gagga and others. They conspired to even kidnap and kill people of other faiths to create a sense of fear and disaffection among different sections of society in the state of Punjab as well. And investigations have also revealed that Hardeep Singh Nijjar and Ardeep Singh lured the above shooters to commit terror acts in return for arranging visas, a splendid job and even handsome earnings for them. In Canada also, initially they were motivated for threatening and extorting money from businessmen in Punjab. Subsequently, they were also radical and motivated for carrying out terrorist acts of killing persons of other faiths, and this continued as well. The government of India white gazette provided white gazette notifications, has declared the Khalistani Tiger Force as prescribed terrorist organization. The KTF also came into existence in the year 2011, if I tell my viewers, as an offshoot of Babba Khalsa International, that is the BKI, a prescribed terror organization under the said act. And the KTF is a militant outfit and it aims to revive the terrorism in Punjab with a view to achieve its agenda of formation of a separate state, that is Khalistan, and thereby challenges the territorial integrity, unity, national security and even the sovereignty of India. The KTF also promotes act of terrorism, and also investigation agencies have found the involvement of its cadres in various terrorist cases, including the target killing. The members of the KTF in India are also, receiving financial and logistic support, including sophisticated weaponry from their foreign-based handlers. And it is a massive masterstroke by the NIA that they have, raided these 53 locations to, get into the depth of the terror activities as well. And these gang members also, along with other gang associates, are also, planning to carry out terror activities in Delhi here itself and different parts of the country by executing target killings using lethal firearms and explosives. And the aforementioned gang members were also, using cyberspace and also social media to, publicize these crimes, to create a widespread terror amongst the public at large. And some of the members are operating from jail also, and are currently, some of them are even absconding and are operating from different parts of India and even foreign countries, according Accordingly, the Delhi police had also, registered an FIR that month, that was 247, which was dated in the year 2022, which says how important the gravity of the situation is, and how these terrorist organizations are getting fundings. The KTF are getting funding, especially accused Arzibuddin Dalla, who coordinates the cross-border drone-based delivery service with the help of accused Naveen Bali, also, who further gets them delivered with the help of its associates as well, associates of Bambimba gang. Also, there is a gang called Bambimba gang, namely accused Chotu Ram and Jagir Singh, Takalam, who also, operates within the gang and gets these drones to, who gets these arms and ammunitions escorted from one place to another via drones. So yes, this is the deep nexus, and NewsX has also got this exclusive report by the NIA, which says the deep link, the deep nexus between the KTI, the BKI, how Pakistani's ISI is also involved in this case, and how there is a deep nexus with all of these militants. Yes, Pia, back to you.
Indeed, Brian, very comprehensive details you've given to our viewers. But also joining us is Mr. N.K. Sood. He is, of course, an internal security expert. Sir, before I come to you, I'd like to give my viewers a few more details as far as Arshdeep Singh and his association with Nijjar, as well as some of their activities are concerned. The document that we've accessed from the NIA maintains that there is a symbiotic relationship between the gangsters as well as the terrorists. The gangsters and their shooters would carry out targeted killings, and they would receive, in fact, sophisticated weapons from the Khalistani terrorists. But that is not all. They have also lured, Arshdeep Singh Dalla has also lured the shooters to commit terror acts in returns for arranging visas, jobs, as well as handsome earnings for them in Canada. He's, of course, based out of Canada, and he's tried to lure these gang members and these shooters by promising them visas, splendid jobs and earnings. Initially, they were motivated for threatening and extorting money from businessmen in Punjab, but subsequently they were radicalized and motivated for carrying out terrorist acts of killing persons of other faiths. So, of course, some rather explosive revelations for all our viewers. But Brian, my colleague, has in fact also mentioned that there is a Pakistan link. There are drones coming in from Pakistan that drop drugs. There is a narco-terror nexus. The NIA is, of course, cracking down. So how far and how entrenched do you think this symbiotic relationship is?
Actually, Pakistan was initially involved in the Kashmir, everything, but they were doing their terrorism and everything. Now they seem to have failed there. So they have opened the second front, K front, Khalistan front. They built Kartarpur corridor in 2019, November 9, 2019, and now they are developing that corridor, because through that they want to lure Khalistanis into Punjab, from Punjab and other parts of the world to Pakistan and brief them. Pakistan is destroyed economically, politically and everything, but they do not want to leave their first love, that is terrorism. They found a good ally in this Canada. Canadian government is also doing the same thing that the Pakistanis are doing. But I must appreciate one thing, the action taken by our government and our agencies. Today, NIA is doing a wonderful job, and in the world, people are today afraid of RAW even. And some people say that RAW is number one. Who brought RAW to number one? Our government's actions, our government's policies, programs. And you see what happened in this Canada. They did not have any information, they do not have any information who killed Nijjar, and even they gathered information from the social media. And who gave them information? Five Eyes, mainly the US is behind it. US gave them half-cooked information. The US doesn't have any information, correct information as to what happened. They have just given them that it could be India. So this is the kind of information that the CIA is feeding. This is the kind of information that the ISI is feeding. This is the kind of information that MI5 of US, UK is feeding, and all the countries. Even the Canadian intelligence that has failed badly. They are not able to maintain their standards that they had at one time, and they are just accusing India. And why they are accusing India? Because they hate India. We had good friendship with Russia. Did Russia anytime cheat us? We are good friends of US. US says that India is a great ally, but US is playing double game with India. On the one hand, they are siding with India. On the other hand, they are instigating Canada to target India, to weaken India, to divert India's attention. And on the other hand, their ambassador in Pakistan, he goes to POK silently, trying to disturb India. So these kind of policies of the US are not going to achieve anything. US is not India's friend. US is an opportunist country. And I'm very happy at the way our agencies are doing work. You know, there is a saying, ki apna haath Jagannath. So that's what India is doing. India is not depending on them. In the early 2000s, we were totally dependent on the US to supply us intelligence or to share intelligence with us. Now we are not dependent on them. We are doing our work independently. We are doing our work in a diligent and professional way. We are targeting India. We are targeting the Khalistanis. We are targeting anti-social elements. These Khalistanis, they are getting money, they are extorting money, and where they are spending it? They are spending in films. They are spending in some other areas to earn something from them. You see, Canada knows everything, but they are not going to stop them. Canada gets $22 billion from the tuition fee. Then the Indians go into Canada to study, but still they were targeting India. Now with this, what is happening in Canada, what is happening in India, I think Canada will be the most effective country who will be badly struck economically, politically, and otherwise. Canada's economy is in a very bad shape, and they are jealous of India. So everything that NIA is doing, they are doing the same thing outside India or inside India, what Yogi had done in UP. Same policies, same programs, same kind of direct action against the people, against the elements who are indulging in anti-India activities, indulging in corruption, indulging in terrorism. So the action that Indian government is taking, it has put their agencies on top of the world.
So stay on with us because I'd like to bring our attention of our viewers back to the document that I have with me. If we could switch to that, so that, yes, indeed. Here earlier, of course, I've mentioned that Nijjar and Dalla had lured shooters, arranged for visas, jobs and earnings in Canada. They had promised them that. They were initially, of course, extorting money for businessmen, these shooters, but then they subsequently became radicalized. Apart from this, there is a lot more information that is there within this. Of course, Dalla has provided details of targets. He's arranged for weapons. He's sent terror funds through various channels and has also raised funds through extortion to strengthen terror activities of the KTF. Investigation has revealed that a major part of the extorted money from the victims was channelized to Dalla in Canada through Hawala operators. They, of course, mentioned some of his arrested associates: Kamaljeet Sharma, Ram Singh, Sona, Lovepreet Singh, Ravi, Gagandeep Singh, Gagu. They were part of a deep-rooted conspiracy hatched by Nijjar and Dalla to kidnap and subsequently kill persons of other faiths in furtherance of terror activities. Conspiracy was, of course, to threaten the unity, integrity and security, including economic security and sovereignty of India, by generating terror funds through extortion in India and transferring them through Hawala to Canada. Majority of these funds used were for the terror activities of the KTF. Now, on the basis of prosecutable evidences collected during the investigation, charge sheet against 7 accused persons, including Arshdeep Dalla, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who is also a designated terrorist, and 5 associates had been filed before NIA Special Court in Mohali under sections 115, 201, 120B, 385, 386, 387 as well as 471 of the IPC, as well as sections 17, 18, 18B, 20, 21 and 23 of the UAPA. And the section 22C of the NDPS Act and section 25A, 25 6, 25 7 and 29 of the Arms Act. Now, what is really interesting is the NDPS Act, which of course deals with narcotic substances, but apart from this, there is some other background information of the Khalistan Tiger Force. Jakhtar Singh Tara was a Babbar Khalsa international terrorist who was involved in the assassination case of former Punjab Chief Minister Beant Singh. He had floated a new terrorist outfit named the Khalistan Tiger Force. He earlier, of course, operated under the aegis of Babbar Khalsa International. However, differences with Wadhwa Singh and Jakhtar Singh Tara had in fact resulted in Tara floating his own militant outfit, namely Khalistan Tiger Force, with a view to carry out terror activities in India as well as Punjab. Now, what is really interesting is that we had earlier also presented a case study for our viewers. We had spoken about how extortion is carried out in a vegetable market in Gurugram, where about 25 lakhs are raised monthly in order to fund these terrorists. So this is rather entrenched, but what do you make of this symbiotic relationship, Mr. Sood, between the Khalistanis and the gangsters, and how do we crack down on them? What other steps can be taken?
I think the government is taking step one by one and very positive steps. And I'm sure the government is also looking to squeeze their funds. Main problem with the people is the funds. If we squeeze their funds, the organization withers. And these people, they are getting support. You see, when the local in India, if a gangster is there or a criminal is there, if he gets political support, he becomes a don. That same happened with Dawood Ibrahim. Now these people, the Khalistanis, they were normal criminals. They went to Canada. After going to Canada, they are earning money, they are getting support from the Canadian government. They are being provided security by them. Means Canada is supporting their cause, Canada is through them is targeting India, and the only way that we can deal with them is to squeeze their funds. And the other thing is that we had been regularly going to the UN and exposing Pakistan to Pakistani militants and trying to blackmail them. Only China was supporting them. Now the same thing, what the NIA is doing in India, we are going to the UN. After going to UN, we will say that they are the terrorists and they should be booked and declared offenders and sent back to India or sent to jail. That will create suitable problems with Canada. They will have to deal with it. If they don't deal it, then somebody has to support that, and it's quite possible that US will support them. That will expose the US. But we are doing our job, and we are doing our job wonderfully. And today we have seen what kind of intelligence inputs are being given by the US, the CIA, who was the top intelligence agency at one time. Some of the people had been saying that Pakistan is a very efficient and the top intelligence agency, very successful. What is happening in Pakistan? All the militants that the ISIS supports are being killed. Who is killing them? No, nobody knows. Internal fights, internal disturbances, internal rivalry. But Pakistan is going credit to India, giving credit to India, or to India's wrong. Well, we take the credit, we'll take it. If we become number one, it's very good. We get encouragement, we get support, we get government support also. So, but the only thing is that for us, our country's defense is the utmost. For these countries, whether it's Pakistan or Canada, for them, their countries' means security is not prime for them. They use their country's agencies to target different countries. India being a soft target, so they are targeting India. But we will have to defend ourselves, and we are defending ourselves excellently. And I must say, the job that our agencies are doing is above normal, is outstanding.
All right, sir. Meanwhile, there is also another point on our screens that I'd like to highlight for all our viewers. There was also a conspiracy that in fact Nijjar was involved in, as well as this also included the involvement of Dala, of course, a conspiracy to kidnap and kill Shakti Singh, follower of Dera Sacha Sauda. This of course comes in addition to the seizure of illegal arms and ammunitions as well. But meanwhile, we also have Group Captain V.N. Jha, defense expert, joining us on the broadcast. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for joining us on NewsX. We've of course uncovered a rather comprehensive NIA charge sheet against Arsh Dalla. It speaks about his associate. It also mentions a lot of the cases and these crimes that he's been involved in, these terror acts that he has either executed or facilitated the execution of. There is as the document maintains, a quote-unquote symbiotic relationship between the terrorists and the gangsters. On one hand, the gangsters carry out these targeted killings, and in return they receive sophisticated weapons. There's a Pakistan link that is also mentioned in the document. It talks about drones and how weapons are also smuggled illegally from Pakistan. Now, what in your opinion should be the next steps that should be carried out in order to crack down on the Khalistan nexus that not just exists within the country but also primarily operates from foreign soil, particularly Canada as well as the United Kingdom?
Very good afternoon. It is a very welcome step, a bit delayed but always welcome. See, Nijjar has been involved in numerous nefarious activities against India. He is a terrorist, there is no doubt at all, and he is an international terrorist that we can call him for. So there is absolutely no doubt that the NIA has taken this action, and this is long overdue. We have been wondering for so many years why Nijjar is spared from being declared red corner terrorist on the international arena. So very welcome step, and we welcome it, and it will also possibly prove a point that once anyone gives an open threat, this is an open threat that he had issued against the Hindus in Canada. How can any nation accept such nonsense? So it was long overdue action, and it was very much on card. We have been wondering for a long time that once Nijjar has given that call against the Hindu community, entire Hindu community, it is not against individual. So he should have been declared long back, and often long back. The human rights activists over the world, they should have sprung into the action long back. How can an individual heading an organization which is of a terror can give such a call against the community, and that to Hindu community, which is by and large a very peaceful community? The entire concept, ideology of Hinduism based onto the peace. So how can anyone give such call? And once he had given this call, he was long overdue for this action. He should have been banned in India internationally. Red corner notice should have been issued long back, but well, it is a delayed step and very welcome. It was long overdue, and we must welcome it. And Government of India should not leave it here alone. We should go a step further. There are many close associate of Nijjar who are equally, potential terrorists. Not only potential, they have been involved in numerous activities linked with the ISI of Pakistan, linked with many other terror, organizations somewhere else. So this was a long overdue action. It has been taken now, so we welcome it, and it is a thing which was we were expecting it to be taken, and I compliment Government of India, Ministry of External Affairs, to have taken this particular initiative in putting him onto the red corner. We will be happy only after he is red cornered and he is nabbed wherever he is. He may be hiding in US, he may be hiding somewhere else, but he needs to be nabbed under the Interpol, and that should be the action that we should, insist onto the international communities.
All right, sir. With that, I would like to thank you for joining us on the broadcast, presenting your perspectives, and I'd also like to thank Mr. Sood for joining us. But in the meantime, I'd like to draw my attention one last time towards the document that I have with me, viewers. As I was saying, and you can see on the screens again, some rather interesting information regarding the terror activities carried out by the KTF. Of course, they did hatch a plot for to a conspiracy, in fact, to kidnap and kill Shakti Singh, follower of Dera Sacha Sauda. There's also a case that pertains to seizure of illegal arms and ammunitions, and in fact, intoxicant tablets were also seized on 23rd May 2021 from the possession of two KTF operators, namely Lovepreet Singh alias Ravi and Ram Singh alias Sona. The case was registered in Moga, and it is of course dated 10th June 2021, which is registered under sections of the IPC as well as the NDPS Act and Arms Act as well as the UAPA. There was also a larger conspiracy hatched by Canada-based gangster Deep Singh Nijjar, who is also a designated terrorist, and Arshdeep Singh Dalla, along with India-based gang members Kamaljeet Sharma, Ram Singh as well as Gagandeep Singh to kidnap and kill Shakti Singh. Meanwhile, last but not least, investigation has revealed the role of Nijjar, who is of course a self-styled chief of the Khalistan Tiger Force, who is a designated terrorist by the government of India, as the main conspirators in the killings as well as the extortion of money to strengthen the terror activities of the KTF. But viewers, you've of course taken a look at some of the key points of this document that we have accessed for all of you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.